Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. I want to talk about an extremely important topic. I think it's a topic of utmost importance. Tremendous what we're going to talk about. And that is divorced people. People that got married either when they're young and they got divorced a month later, 3 months later, 2 years later. People that were married for 15 years and got divorced and now they're older in life. People that got divorced at much later stages in life. Or, you understand, we're going to focus more right now on the young people that get divorced. Yeah. But the same understanding also applies to people that are older. It's just that they should have fixed themselves. You understand? At a certain point, you have to start taking responsibility. But when you're very young, you're just becoming an adult, and you need time to become, to take control of your life. You need time, and you can't really be held so much responsible for your actions. That's why we have an interesting halacha in Judaism and Yiddishkeit, is that a man becomes a full adult at 13, a woman becomes a full adult at 12. However, in heaven, in Shemayim, you're not judged, you're not done until the age of 20. Hashem understands it takes time to become mature, to fully, you enter into manhood, you enter into womanhood, you left the girl and boy stage, but it takes some time to get a good handling. It takes a few years. Here we see Hashem gives 7 years. It takes not a tremendous long amount of time and not a short amount of time. It requires time to get mavushal, to be cooked, you understand, it takes time. There is there's this epidemic today of divorce. We have many shurim that we bring in different reasons that are big contributors to divorce. That's not our focus now. Now we want to talk about the person, chas v'shalom, God forbid, that is divorced. You have a young girl, a young boy, divorced. And now, people that are divorced, they're sort of menudeh. They're like pushed out of the camp, They are, I'm trying to think of the English word for menudeh. Someone, when someone has saras, they have to leave where people are, They have to be outside of where people live. And a girl that gets divorced, a boy less so, a girl more so. There's different things in life. Some things a boy gets more affected, some things a girl gets more affected. In this case, a girl gets more affected by the fact that she's divorced. And here I'm just going to come and try to sweeten the scenario, to take away the ickiness, it's like the system gets you divorced, and then once you're divorced, the system thinks of you very bad, the fact that you're divorced. You understand? So we try to help people from preventing them from getting divorced, from marrying the wrong person, and having right ideologies. And we also want to help people that actually did get divorced. We're here to help everybody. That is the way of Hashem. So people have to know, they see a young girl gets divorced. don't be too hard on her. Listen, if you don't want to marry someone divorced, right? We totally respect you, But if you're someone that doesn't mind so much, or if you could look at them in a less icky way, that's what we're coming to do, to help you with that. To see a positive way to look at them, right? Right now, people, when they look at them, all they see is negativity. We're going to try to give a positive way to look at them. And wherever that takes a person, it takes them. You understand? You have to understand that people are looking at these young, I'm just going to refer to girls but it's boys and girls. I'm referring to girls because they get more affected. So, people see these young girls that get divorced, and they sort of become pariahs. That, like, no one wants them. You understand? Even a divorced boy is looking for a girl that isn't divorced. You understand? Now, in the system, they'll actually push hard for a divorced boy to marry a divorced girl, right? Unless you're in Kailel, which there's so much demand for someone in Kailel that then you sort of the man gets the upper power, and you understand. But we're not going to get into all that nonsense. You understand? A single girl is pushed to the front over a divorced girl. So it goes both ways. You understand? We're not going to get into that ickiness. We're just mention it to know that it's there, and now we're going to try to give people a different way to look at it. So you have to understand. So people look at this divorced girl in a not so positive light, in a negative light. They think there's something wrong with her. She got divorced, right? Like, all different things. I don't want to really get too much into it, but, people are very shallow. And really, why are you picking so much on this girl that's divorced, on this boy that's divorced? Why are you picking so much on them? They just became adults. They're developing. Whatever mistakes they made, that came from their people that were guiding them in life. Whether it was the parents, the moras, the rabbeim, you understand? Those are the ones that created this person into this. They were under their tutelage. They were hers or his teachers, right? These boy and girl, they were taught, and this is the product that came out of it. So the ickiness, if there's someone that we should hold accountable for what happened, it's their parents, it's their mora, it's the rabbeim, it's the spiritual leaders, right? You have the spiritual leaders of Judaism, and they sort of give over to the next level what they should do, and it goes down all the way, it trickles all the way down to the parents, right? Instead of looking at the girl in this negative light, look at her parents in the negative light. Look at her Rav in the negative light. Look at the moras and the rabbeim of hers. Look at the gedolim that's who you should be looking at in a negative light. Meaning the honor of the girl shouldn't go down because she got divorced. It's the people who were madricher, who were upbringing her, and how that ladder goes up, right? Those people, they should go down in their honor, in in how much you revere them. You understand? They should go down, not the girl, not the boy. Now, if they're many, many years married, it's still, they were they were set on the wrong track. So now to turn around, it's difficult. But at the same time, they're, so to speak, full adults. So, they're somewhat guilty. The system is somewhat guilty. You understand? But when it comes to young people, definitely it's the system. You understand? Now, does that mean that you could have a good system and it doesn't mean that if doesn't mean that there can't be certain people that they've just decided to do things wrong. Absolutely. But in general, it's the system. And those people that are pushing that, those are who has to go down in our eyes. And we have to look for people that don't make that mistake, and they should go up. The true tzaddikim, the true Rebbetzins, the true Rebbes, the true Rosh Hashivas, the true Chachams, the true Mashpiyim, they should go up. And these other people that consider themselves to be that, they should go down. The fake ones are very good at being on top. They're very good at fooling the crowd. We could take from what happens here, don't put it out on the girl, don't put it out on the boy. They're very young. Take that and put it into the system. Put down those egoistics that all they care about is their swiveling chair. Put them down and put up the righteous people that all they have in their heart is love for Klal Yisrael. No matter if you're Ashkenaz, a Sephardi, a Hasidish, Taimini, I don't know, whatever you are. Even if you're not a frum Jew, they care about you. The Reb Shaila, he had a place that anybody that needed food could eat. And he had a section for people that are not Jews, for Gentiles, people of other religions, people that don't believe in religion at all. Whoever they were. He gave food to everybody. People that care about everybody. They want the best for everybody, especially people in their own religion. That's the type of people that we have to put up. Not these balgaivas that you're looking to get a bit of covet of being around them, and now you could do this. You understand? No. We look for the honor, for the humble person, for the person who's filled with care and love for every Yid and for every human being. That's what we look for. This is, just with this, we could end, but I do want to say another few points. A girl that's divorced, it happened. She's divorced. You understand? He or she, they're divorced. You understand? That happening lots of times jolts a person, pushes a person in a very strong manner to become mature and to treat their man right. A woman that gets divorced and takes the lesson, she takes the lesson from it, she now stops nagging. You understand? A girl that's divorced and that's a good girl, she'll learn from that to not nag. So you're going to marry someone that knows, and this is something that's very, very annoying to a man, the constant nagging, do this, do that. He just brought the stuff and he said, I forgot this. The nagging, I want you to do this, and they say it again and again and again until you do what they say. The nagging, you understand? Extremely annoying to a man. A woman that's divorced, that, just a regular woman that's divorced, we're talking about someone that becomes a witch after she's divorced, you understand? A regular woman that's divorced, she learns not to nag less, she learns how to fluctuate. You understand? She's a woman. She likes to nag. You understand? It's some type of thing in her head. She somehow feels love through that, whatever it is. But she learns to control herself, and definitely to do it less. So that's something that you could look at it and see a positive, So this is big. Now, a man that's divorced, I don't have to discuss that. Women, when a man gets, when they are married, when they're marrying someone that's extremely young, even so it's true, but especially when they're already a bit older, and now they're marrying someone that's a bit older, you understand? Women like someone who has experience. They actually, naturally, if a person at a certain age doesn't have experience, they lose respect for that person. Even though this, for a man, it's like the opposite, you understand? But to a woman, that's the way she thinks. Now, being part of Judaism, maybe, being part of like a high level orthodoxy, you could sort of make it that it's not, that it sort of turns it into that she doesn't respect him and doesn't less respect him. You understand? It sort of stays the same. But naturally, she respects him more. So, because he's experienced. They look at him as a man, he experienced it, and she doesn't care because now I have him, right? That's the way she thinks. The man thinks, oh my goodness, she was with someone else, right? But the girl thinks, I have him now. You understand? So, this is just to help people a little bit to go on the topic that there's a lot that a person learns in a divorce, and if they take it in the right way, of course it should never happen, but if it did happen, and then they take the right lessons out of it, right? It doesn't mean you were wrong or the other person's wrong. Usually in a divorce, both were wrong. You understand? But if it happened, we're talking about after the fact. What do you do now? If they take the right lessons, this could make them, for when they get married next, a better wife and a better husband. And this is something important to remember. Now, while I'm saying this, it would be remiss for me not to say at the same time, people that did get divorced and they did not yet marry someone else. Because in the Torah, according to Judaism, a person as a Jew, if you are married to someone and then you divorce them and then get married to someone else and then divorce that second person, you cannot take back that first person. You understand? This is how Judaism works. And this prevents people from swapping wives and taking marriage more seriously. In the Arab world, there's this whole thing. You give a chamar, you give her, and then you get his wife. They swap wives. They give a divorce, and then because the girls basically have no rights in most Arab places. Today, there's some places that are, becoming more civilized. But what happens by Arabs is they'll divorce, and then you have two friends, each one will divorce the wife, and then the wife will be married to the other two, and meaning as a swap, they'll be with them, and then they'll divorce them and send them back and remarry them, you understand? And this is how they do things. Because by them, so this is how they do things. Now, the Torah preventing such an ugly thing, to prevent even the idea, people even thinking of such a thing, the Torah just forbids it. Forbids that once you went to another man, you can never come back. And this has saved many, many marriages. Now, when we're talking about someone that did get divorced, I was talking to someone and they were telling me how how there's a couple that unfortunately got divorced. So I'm speaking to someone that's friends the with the wife. Talk about someone that, that I know that's friends with the wife, and the wife tells them about a simcha, about a happy occasion that's happening in her divorced husband's family. So meaning they're divorced, but she's so in touch with what's happening that she knows about a simcha, a happy occasion that's happening in the divorced husband's family. And when you see that, I just told this person, maybe you could just tell them to grow up, get remarried, get married together, because at the moment they didn't marry someone else yet. You understand? Sometimes you get divorced and it was a stupid decision. It wasn't, you weren't at your brightest moment when you did that. Whether you're a girl or a boy, usually the girls push the divorce, you understand? But whatever it is, who cares who pushed the divorce? If the girl pushed the divorce, that means the man also caused it. He just didn't say, let's get divorced, you understand? Who cares? Grow up. In most things in life, especially when it comes to marriage, the answer is 2 words. Grow up. Stop being a child. Stop being a child. Life is difficult. Sometimes people get upset. People have bad days. You're going to be living with someone for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Who knows how long? There's going to be times that things happen. And you just gotta go through the storm. Not every time there's a storm, you divorce your wife. It takes them 3, 4 wives to realize you gotta weather the storms. You don't just divorce just because a storm came up. You deal with it. Just to end off on a bit of a joke, there was a couple that came to the rabbi of the city, and they said, we want a divorce. And in the olden days, it's not like today. In the olden days, rabbis would do anything. They wouldn't say no, we're not going to give you a divorce, but they would break their minds to figure out how to prevent the divorce. Not like today, they take your money and right away they give you a divorce and take the check. No. They would break. A rabbi heard it, his whole demeanor would fall. He would be in such pain, in such agony, even if there weren't kids. You understand? These are rabbis of old, rebbitzins of old. So this couple comes and says they want a divorce, and you could imagine the rabbi is broken, and he's like, no, and he's trying to talk them out of it, and trying to show them what they have, and look at what you have, and stop looking at what you don't have. And you have to understand, sometimes things happen in life, and there could be difficulties, but it goes away. Things will get better. You understand? You really love each other. You're literally intimate with each other. You understand? You're throwing that away, and he's just going at it. And this couple, nothing doing. After the rabbi trying, and again, a few days, this, that, this couple was adamant, we are getting divorced. There was no way to reason with them. There was no way to open up their heart, their mind, nothing. So the rabbi is broken, but if people don't want to be together, you got to separate them. So the rabbi gives them the divorce. The rabbi is just broken. After he gives them a divorce, the couple then says, Rabbi, could you remarry us? And he's like, what? He says, well, you were just married. What do you mean? They say the second one is always better. So, in life, this is what we're going back to, that you say that someone who was divorced, they get a shock, and lots of times, it's like a boot camp. It shocks the person back into reality, into what they're supposed to be as a husband, as a wife. And that is a mila of marrying someone that's divorced. No one should be divorced. No one should get divorced. But the reality is there's many divorced girls, many divorced boys, and this is a way that we could look at it and not look at it in a negative way, and don't put the blame on them. I love you all, and Hashem loves you more.